Let's crack open a beer and share some thoughts.
Welcome to the first Opinions on Film, supported by Hippo Beers, in which we'll be drinking our way through one of the Hippo Beers Behemoth Boxes, matching the beers with scenes from a classic film. Now that sounds like a bit of a stretch, doesn't it?
It does sound a bit of a stretch, but I reckon we can do it.
I think we can do it, and I think we're looking forward to having quite a lot of fun with this new little spin-off series that we're going to be doing.
What film are we lined up, Steve?
So this time, and for the first time, we are going to be watching Back to the Future, the absolute classic.
Never watched that before.
No, only a few times in my life. And as I say, what we're going to do is we've kind of matched these 8 beers with particular scenes in the film. So we're going to drink the beers along with the film, and we're basically just going to nerd our way through the film, aren't we? Talking about
nerd our way through beers, nerd our way through the film, and if we do have any unlikely pauses, you'll hear the film.
Absolutely, yeah. And probably fair to say, spoiler warning, in case you haven't seen the film before, we probably will be talking about episodes 2 and 3.
Episodes 2 and 3 will get hit
as part of this. And the second warning is, for those of you that don't like the longer shows, you're getting nothing less than 90 minutes for this, because obviously we're going through the entire film.
We won't be skipping and fast forwarding this film.
Yes, no, absolutely. So without further ado, should we get the film started and get the first beer into a glass?
Okay, so let's see. Technology, there we go. DVD, up and running.
Excellent, there we go.
So, first beer, Steve.
First beer is from Marble, and it's part of their metal series. So this is Ember City, which is 6% red ale, as listeners would have heard, came in the can, and I thought was the perfect film, or the perfect beer, to start the film with.
Okay, and what was the background to that?
There's, for me, it was about, obviously we open on this scene, which people should now be at least hearing in the background, where there are many clocks.
Many ticking clocks.
Many ticking clocks. But as this scene progresses, this leads up to our first introduction to Marty Mcfly, standing in front of a massive amp.
So I'm seeing whether we're going down the heavy metal rock route.
There you go. There you go.
In that case,
so cheers. Oh, it's got very coppery on the nose.
It's very coppery. It's the flavour's a bit chocolatey, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
So like
caramel.
a chocolate caramel, perhaps being used.
With the sort of that chocolate bitter finish that you get to it.
That's on initial tasting. It's one of the nicest red ales I've tasted.
Yeah, it's not
overly. I'm going to use a really bland phrase. It's not overly red. You know, you get that sweetness usually with it. A lot of sweetness. That chocolate caramel is quite soft.
I find the red ale quite an interesting style. Well, not interesting, quite an unusual style that it doesn't really
Sit anywhere, does it?
What's it designed to do?
Don't know. I mean, it doesn't. For me, it doesn't never quite sit somewhere.
I've never had one that I'd go back to again and again and again. I've got to say.
I had one or two which I thought, oh, if I saw it again. Usually when it's been on keg or cask.
Yeah.
Rarely out of a bottle or a can have I said, oh, I fancy that again. But my initial thoughts on this one are quite interesting, actually.
I think agree there. Generally, red ales work on cask. I think it's a style that's designed for that dispense method. But again, with most of these Marble Metal Series beers, I've been quite impressed with all of them.
Now, here we go. This is our first look. Michael J. Fox as Marty Mcfly.
And here's our first. We should have mentioned that we were going to play a drinking game every time there's product placement. So we're now getting a good look at a nice pair of Nike trainers.
Nike trainers, yep.
Yep. And lots of spoilers in that opening scene as well, in terms of things to come.
Yes.
So the story on the news about the stolen plutonium and Doc's mansion burning down, and
Yeah. But it only becomes apparent later on.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
first viewing.
On first viewing, you
Yeah.
would never have known that, would you?
So we're coming up to the moment where inspired you to choose this first beer then.
Absolutely, yeah. He's standing in front of the world's biggest amp.
He's about to plug in.
And he plugs into the world's smallest guitar. And strikes that first chord.
Do you know what? I never thought about the size of the guitar before. That is small, isn't it? It's like a banjo.
It's tiny, yeah.
Like banjo
Is that
size.
to make Michael J. Fox look bigger, do you think? Because he's not the tallest.
He's not the tallest, is he?
Yeah.
Hey. That's the whole of that room destroyed.
Yes, absolutely.
Just with one strum of the guitar. And look at those shades.
That's
Cover up half his face.
the classic 80s look. Denim jacket with the collar turned up, sleeves rolled up on the denim jacket.
So did you see this at the cinema then, Steve?
Yeah,
Yeah, same here.
it was one of those kind of real moments in time where I think everyone came out wanting to be Michael J. Fox.
Well, I partly did because this was my first ever date.
Really?
Yeah, a girl from school called Claire.
Okay.
And we went to this partly because I quite like the time travel bit.
Yeah.
But because she loved Michael J. Fox. So I was happy if there was any comparison at that point.
I'm not sure what attracted me to do it. Probably the good old advertising, the television spot or a trailer at a previous film.
Yeah, because it wouldn't have been... I mean, the advertising would have been completely different in those days because we didn't have YouTube.
Yeah.
Did we? We
No,
didn't
you don't
have...
get clips on Twitter.
1985, we had... Did we have Channel 4 by then?
I think so. Might have just started.
So you only had ITV and Channel 4 to advertise. Didn't have MTV.
No.
Not over here.
No, it's true.
Oh,
See? Again, works perfectly.
Yeah.
A bit of Huey Lewis in the news.
who doesn't love this song?
Well, every time you hear it, you can't help but think of this film.
Oh, it's brilliant. This was one of the highlights of the film for me, is this soundtrack.
Oh,
Burger King.
Toys
R
R
Us.
Us. As a result of this, Huey Lewis was he was actually approached to do the soundtrack for Ghostbusters as well, but he turned it down because he didn't want to become known
As a soundtrack
as a soundtrack artist. So that ended up with Ray Parker Jr.
Which is also another classic film and classic soundtrack.
Yeah.
See, there's some more spoilers
hints
for
to the
later
future,
on.
Yeah,
So now, we've seen a little bit of Hill Valley there, haven't we?
just only a little bit. Yeah, just the briefest of introductions.
And there's Jennifer. The original Jennifer.
The original Jennifer. Yeah. We'll
So-
come on to that later.
For anyone who hasn't seen the film, this is Marty's love interest.
Yes, his girlfriend. Played in this film by Claudia Wells.
Yes. And there he is, he's getting told off.
By Strickland, who doesn't change
No.
throughout the entire series of films. He essentially plays the same character.
But they do that with all the films, really, don't they?
Oh yeah.
All of the main characters who are introduced in film 1 are the same characters in films 2 and 3.
They are. Yeah.
They don't really deviate, do they?
But they're supposed to be ancestors.
They're ancestors or future. They're either ancestors or descendants, aren't they?
Except where the only one that doesn't really work is Back to the Future 3, where Marty Mcfly's great grandfather is played by Michael J. Fox as well.
Yeah, affecting an Irish accent.
Yeah. And we just missed a bit there as well, where Huey Lewis actually makes an appearance in the film as the judge of the.
Oh, we see him here.
Yeah.
Don't we? Definitely got a soft rock look going on.
Yeah. Which was very much in tune with the music that was of that time.
Oh God! I mean, we were at the start of your Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
Huey Lewis with his cameo role.
Yeah.
The Stan Lee of his day.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Good choice in that first one, and that was nice beer. I don't really say
Really drinkable, though.
well. It's gone.
Yeah.
So just a bit more. So sweet malt base, contrast a spicy hop mix of Mosaic, Columbus, Nelson Sauvin, and Waimea. So a couple of New World hops in there as well.
Okay, yeah.
That was really well balanced.
But, I mean, Marble use a lot of New Zealand hops in their beers anyway.
Especially in the metal series.
Yeah.
And especially with their head brewer, because he came back. He went over there and came back again, didn't he?
Yeah,
to New
I
Zealand.
think his wife's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a really well balanced beer.
Yeah.
Really well balanced.
Yeah.
Didn't take long at all.
Actually, despite our initial misgivings about a red ale, worked really well.
Texaco, getting
Toyota.
a nice shout out. Toyota. So shall I crack open beer number 2?
I think we probably should have beer number 2. Yeah. We might be a little bit behind with where I was thinking we were going to be with some of these beers.
That's fine. I'm sure we can make up the difference. Time's on our side.
Indeed it is. So beer number 2 is from Drake's Brewing Company, who are based in America, and this is a West Coast IPA. And I thought that this beer would work particularly well with this scene where we're in now, where they're chatting about Hill Valley and what they're planning to do, and the evening scene, because we're seeing a little bit more of America, we're seeing a little bit more of where they live, and the only way really to enjoy that is by drinking a beer that is from America.
Do you know what? It's only when I've watched this film in recent years again, which I do periodically because it's a film I can just put on and relax with, how downtrodden the town looks.
Yeah.
Unlike
Falling
a lot of
apart,
American
isn't it? Yeah.
films where it's this idyllic kind of town. This isn't.
Yeah.
It's very much. It's like its best days are past it.
Yep.
The number on the back of the leaflet about the clock tower, eh?
That becomes so important in a while.
See? Now, would he have kept that leaflet if she hadn't put her number on it?
No,
Her grand number.
Yeah. Okay, well, it smells like a West Coast IPA.
I wouldn't have minded that Jennifer saying I love you to me. Essex. The cinema's called Essex.
Miller Lite. First beer call in the background.
Now that is sweet, isn't it?
Mm.
Now what's this? 7.4? Did you say? Oh, 7%. Oh, I didn't notice on this. Apparently, it's got a rate beer rating on this leaflet.
Oh, I didn't notice that either.
Rate beer 97 for this.
Wow.
And just for anyone who's curious, the last one said not applicable, so perhaps it just didn't have enough ratings on rate beer for the Marvel series.
Yeah,
it's new,
still
isn't
quite
it?
new, yeah.
But this one says 97. Brewed with extra hops and malt in the English edition, but with West Coast style.
I'm just. I want to talk about beer, but I want to talk about the film as well. So I'm torn now.
Love Biff's trousers.
Yeah.
It looks like he's just come back from golf.
Biff is an interesting character because in terms of the entire series, like the 3 films, the metamorphosis that this guy goes through in terms of the range of different characters that he plays is just I think it's great.
Yes, but I mean he's very much he's the villain. Film 1, film 2, film 3.
Yeah.
Isn't he?
Yeah, and it's probably fair to say as well in the 3rd film that villain is maybe a little bit darker than in the previous 2 films as well. So
yeah, I would say that because it's like he's a bit more, probably a bit more stupid, but more dangerous.
Yeah, it's a mad dog Tannen, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
I suppose because they've got guns as well.
Yeah.
No, it makes it very different, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, just quickly about the beer. Well, I say quickly, it's probably what we should be focusing on. I just wonder if it's suffered a little bit from that American IPA thing, travelling to the UK. It's a little bit old, maybe, a little bit tired. So we're getting more of the sweetness coming through.
Well, it has got a bottled on date here.
Okay.
And I think you're probably right, it probably has suffered from by the time it's got from A to B to C to D,
Yeah.
it's gone through at least 3 or 4 transit points, hasn't it?
Probably at a range of different temperatures.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
perhaps we've lost a little bit of that initial hot bite.
Yeah.
You know, that where it really slaps you around the face. For a 7% West Coast IPA, that's what the sort of thing you get, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I associate with it anyway. And I don't think you're really getting it on this, but it's still nicely rounded. That sweetness is starting to die off a little bit for me as well.
Yeah. Right, so let's get nerding here then. Okay, so we've got the first scene with Crispin Glover.
He's playing his dad.
He's playing his dad, Michael J. Fox. At the time of filming, Michael J. Fox was actually older than Crispin Glover.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, in this film.
So, Diet Pepsi.
And whatever they're eating out of the box.
Yeah, but I don't recognise that.
Yeah.
Diet Pepsi I recognise.
Yeah. Michael J. Fox, maybe this is one of the more well-known facts, wasn't the first choice for Marty McFly.
No, he wasn't, was he?
Either. They had, I think, one of the people they were after was Ralph Macchio, who ended up playing the Karate
Kid, wasn't it?
And the first actor actually cast as Marty McFly was Eric Stoltz.
Didn't they actually, if I remember correctly, do quite a chunk of filming with Eric Stoltz playing the role?
And evidently there's one scene that is still Eric Stoltz. It's the scene when he goes back to 1955 in the calf, where Marty, I think he punches Biff.
Yeah.
That's actually Eric Stoltz punching him.
Oh, I need to look out for that
because
now.
they didn't. You can't really see it because it's from the back of his head.
Oh, I'm still going to look out for it.
I think I remember seeing it in a YouTube video. They showed you 2 images of Thomas F. Wilson, who plays Biff, at the beginning of filming when it was Eric Stoltz.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the filming schedule when he was more tired and you could see he had black bags under his eyes and everything. In the scene where Eric Stoltz punches him, he's as fresh as a daisy.
Oh, and then the scene later on,
he's tired.
Because they do the scenes out of sync anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
With the filming.
So Eric Stoltz was basically...
One of those weird things, when you get told that someone else might have played the role and you've watched it and you've seen it and watched it many, many times in our cases, it's hard to picture anyone else playing it.
It is, but the footage exists of some of the Eric Stoltz footage exists, and he does look like looks like Michael J. Fox.
But they spent a chunk of money as well, didn't they?
To get rid of him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think a stick for the budget went on that filming and moving him on.
Yeah.
So they were already over budget by the time they started filming the film.
Yeah, and also Michael J. Fox was filming it between filming schedules for Family Ties.
Family Ties, weren't he?
As well, so he was doing Family Ties during the day, and then they were doing a lot of the filming of the evening.
Teen Wolf come out before or after this? Or did Teen Wolf get made before this and sort of rode the coattails of this a bit?
It definitely came out after this.
Yeah. So I've got a feeling though, in my back of my mind, it was before it, they did it and didn't really do anything. But after this, it was like, let's get Michael J. Fox as much as possible.
Yeah.
So that was a can of Bud Light. If only they rebranded it and brought it out again.
Well, there you go. And there's Pepsi again.
Different can though, wasn't it? Different design, I think.
And we did miss a whole scene there about Marty's mum talking about how she
never chased boys in her day,
and how she met his dad and all the rest of it, which we find out was maybe a little bit different in a while.
Yes, never trust your parents, kids.
Yeah, absolutely. If this film tells you one thing, it's do not trust your parents.
Yeah. The stories are always a little bit different. This is probably the first film where the word mall enters my consciousness.
So, Twin Pines Mall.
Twin Pines Mall, very important
to make a note of that.
So this great big car park with shops all around it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember when I went to California in 1989 with a friend of mine, we went to a shopping mall and it was just like the biggest thing I think I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
With people in it, cinema. This is before we had all the retail parks over here. But this was my first visual of it.
Not really something that ever caught on over here, is it? The idea of a shopping...
I suppose you get... like I said, it's more
complex.
Retail parks, isn't it?
But we never went down the route of calling something a mall.
I'm glad about that.
So am I. There's too much Americanisms in the English way these days.
Now this is a big moment.
This is, yeah.
This is the DeLorean coming off the back of the lorry.
The big reveal.
with its license plate saying "out of time."
Yep. And originally, the time machine was supposed to be a refrigerator.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be a car. But the reason why they changed it was because apparently it was during a spate of incidences in America where kids were getting in old discarded refrigerators and the door was shutting and they weren't able to get out.
I think there was a public health warning about that back in the 80s or 90s over here, where people were leaving them out to be picked up or basically fly tipping them, and that was happening. But strangely enough, in one of the Lost Raiders of the Lost Ark films, they had that moment, didn't they?
Yeah. J.C. Penney, JVC,
yeah.
And Einstein as well. Einstein the dog. Who again was supposed to originally be a chimp.
Yeah.
But they didn't think that people would believe the idea of a time-travelling chimp.
Yeah, whereas you believe a time-travelling dog.
Obviously.
I suppose a dog was the first in space. Because the Russians sent a dog up in Sputnik, didn't they?
It was, but also, he's a very distinctive dog, and they've been able to use that in all of the different years that they then film it.
Yeah.
With different iterations of a younger Einstein. And
all using scientists' names, if I remember correctly, or geeky type names. The DeLorean, was that out then as a car in '85?
It was, but it was universally panned for being crap.
Yeah, and impractical.
Yeah,
because the gull-wing doors, wasn't it? You had people parking them and then not being able to get out of their own cars and stuff. But
which I think was part of the thinking.
It does look fantastic, though.
It does. I mean,
in this role here, it does look great.
You see it and you just instantly, it's a time machine.
It is. It's a time machine.
Yeah.
Although at this stage, we as viewers don't know that, do we?
We don't know.
We're guessing, but we don't know.
Yeah, we
don't know that the high speed of 88.8 miles per hour, which means you can time travel.
What is that's never explained, is it? Why it's that exact speed?
I mean, let's face it. Every 1 litre car these days can do over 90 miles an hour, and we don't time travel.
No. And I also don't believe that scene that you can build a car up to 60 miles an hour stationary before you release it.
Yeah, and he's driving a DeLorean by remote control.
Yeah. With a dog in the passenger seat.
No, driver's seat.
Oh yeah, in the driver's seat.
Yeah, remember, American car.
Yeah.
No, the dog is almost driving.
Yeah.
I suppose the only other iconic car in the 80s for me, 2 iconic cars would be Knight Rider, Kit.
Yeah.
And the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard.
So, as a film, it actually used very, very little special effects. Apart from that scene there, obviously where the car disappears and you've got the tyre tracks in flame, and obviously that happens again later on in the film. But as we go throughout, there's very few other special effects used throughout this.
Just as well after they spent a sixth of the budget on Eric Stoltz.
Getting rid of the previous actor. Yeah.
Right then, so beer number 3 is pairing with this scene because, Steve, come on, this may have been the most tenuous one out of the lot.
Maybe the biggest stretch, yeah. So we're drinking Yeastie Boys Pot Kettle Black, which is a South Pacific porter. The reason why we're drinking it with this scene that's taking place at 1 a.m. in the morning is because it's dark. And so is the beer. That's the best I've got, folks, for this one.
And just in case anyone who's listened to this
is it still with us?
Is still with us, but isn't sure why we decided to make this even more complicated. Cheers.
Cheers.
It's because our friends from another podcast, Rhythm and Brews, put the idea into our heads about choosing the beers for certain moments in the film.
That they did, yeah. We were just going to literally go with the sensible way of doing it, which would have been probably to have started from low ABV to high ABV.
Or even just go by what the leaflet they sent with it.
Yeah.
Could have been just done that.
Yeah.
But no, we thought we'd make it more interesting. I think it's worked so well. I mean, this beer smells lovely.
I mean, there's an incredible nose.
Before we get to, what was your final thoughts on the Drake's IPA?
Yeah.
I mean, we finished it pretty quick.
I think it was more malty caramel sweet than I would like from a West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
It's lost, for all intents and purposes, it's lost all of its bitterness.
Yeah, it's lost
that you get from that hop.
that sharpness,
Yeah.
that bitterness. It's lost the fruitiness of the hops, that overt fruitiness. I think there's definitely a good beer in there. If I saw it again and I could get it bang on, I would definitely go for it because I think there's a good one in there.
Absolutely, but I think that's what's partly great about this box that we've been sent by Hippo Beers, is that actually we're getting to try some beers that you probably wouldn't get to find in a normal bottle shop or try.
Well, the Drake's is completely unfamiliar to me.
Yeah, I've never even heard of the brand before.
No. I love the time controls.
Yeah.
In the car, it's very simple.
Yeah. And there we go. Just put in the date.
Yeah.
That
Why have we chosen
all
that
important.
date? Yeah. What date would you choose?
To go back to.
Let's assume it's going back because this is what this one's about. So,
okay.
If you could choose a date, or if you can't remember the date, is there a moment you wouldn't mind seeing or repeating, or?
As in, go back to a time and see yourself experience that moment.
Not necessarily, or something. Maybe it was the last time that Freddie Mercury played live. I don't know, maybe something like that.
Oh, so a point in history that you can never revisit.
Yeah.
Well, you've probably actually just nailed it there for me, because I've always said that's probably my biggest musical regret in life is not having been old enough to have seen Queen perform live. And to go and see them live with Freddie Mercury as the lead singer. I would love to be able to go back and see that moment, because I think from the films that you've seen and the videos you've seen, that they were one of the greatest live bands of all time.
Oh, I think that is without a shadow of a doubt. You can definitely have plenty of arguments about the greatest, and that will then come down to personal choice. But Queen as a live band, I mean, the fact that they still tour live.
Yeah,
they've got some big dates coming up this year. Shows how good they were at what they're doing.
Yeah.
Mine would be see the Beatles live.
Okay.
Similar thing. I was definitely too young to see the Beatles live, and I would love to have one of those moments where I get to see all four of them in their pomp and in more probably the earlier of their phase before the concerts just became screaming.
Yeah. I think the other moment, and it might come as a bit of a surprise to people that are regular listeners, I wouldn't mind being at Wembley when England won the World Cup in 1966.
That is a surprise.
It's one of those historical
I'm impressed
moments.
with that. I'm going to say cheers.
Cheers.
That's a moment I wasn't expecting.
But you see it. You see the original black and white footage. You see the colour footage that they made of it, and you just think, can you imagine what it would have been like to have been in that stadium at that time with, back then, hundreds of thousands of people crammed in?
I think it would have been fantastic, but the thing is, I don't think you would ever have thought that it wouldn't happen again.
Yeah.
So I think you would have loved it, but you wouldn't have appreciated it quite the same way, because you would only appreciate it knowing that there'd be another 50 odd years worth of pain and hurt of watching England. Anyway, just quickly back to the film. So you've now told us that basically the car's powered by plutonium.
Yes, and it has to generate 1.1 gigawatts. Is it?
I don't know what a gigawatt is.
Something.
I don't know what gigawatt is. And so Marty's using his JVC video camera,
which we can't miss.
No,
is a JVC product.
So he's going to record Doc Emmett doing his first travel in time.
Yeah. But there's some ominous music playing, isn't there?
You always know.
Yeah.
The music does tell you. I like the way they actually just name check, just say the Libyans.
If they was to remake this now, that would be the Iraqis, wouldn't it? Or
North Koreans.
Yeah, it would be whichever racially stereotyped bad guys they could think of at the time.
But interestingly, by this point, I mean, Libya had they started becoming a pariah state?
Yeah.
I mean, this is 1985. I mean, Lockerbie was what, 1989?
So Doc's just been shot.
So Doc's dead.
Yeah, Doc's dead now, and now they're after Marty, who's still holding on to the video camera.
And in bright
Yeah.
yellow fluorescent overalls, which makes him really easy to find in a dark mall.
Yeah. Gun jam.
Oh, he's dived into the car.
Yep. Forgetting that it's essentially a time machine.
Yeah, but this has gone out of his head at the moment.
Yeah. So he's just panicking for his life.
Yeah.
Nice, another advert for his night trainers there.
Yeah. Night get a good shout on these.
They do, don't they? Particularly in episode 2.
Yeah, very much in episode 2.
Oh, he's just turned on the time circuits.
Yeah.
This isn't boding well, is it?
No.
God, Marty, don't hit 88 miles an hour, will you?
No, don't do that. Although to outrun a Volkswagen camper van in those days, would you have had to do 88
in a
miles
DeLorean that was apparently supposed to be quite the sporty car.
I'll tell you what though, I've almost finished this beer.
Yeah. So it's working perfectly with the scene though.
It is worth it. I mean, because we've had this before, haven't we?
Yeah.
We're both very familiar with the beers from Yeastie Boys, aren't we? Is this actually a black IPA?
No, it's a porter.
Oh, it's porter. You said that at the start, didn't you? So, oh god, I wish I hadn't read this now. A juxtaposition of styles, fresh and hoppy, yet dark and rich, mind-bendingly delicious. Is how the Behemoth Box leaflet has described it, and it's 6%. Rate beer 94.
Cool.
Not too bad. I mean, I don't know what rate beer is, by the way. I'm just reading it out. I've got no idea. Rate beer's alien to me.
Oops.
Oh, he's hit a scarecrow.
Marty's just hit 88 miles an hour and he's hit a scarecrow. Apparently, there's some suggestion that scarecrow is a nod to the Wizard of Oz and Dorothy going to this fantasy land and
It could
meeting
be.
the
I mean,
scarecrow.
look. I mean, we've got this big house with a picket fence outside as well.
Yeah.
Oh, look, and there's pine trees.
Yes. I think there's only one of them now because he's just run one of them down.
So now we've got the DeLorean in a barn in the hay. Now that's handy, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like the exact image.
So a
On a comic book.
1950s comic has a picture of the DeLorean on the front with an alien beside it in yellow. Handily, Marty Mcfly is in yellow.
Yes. With his hood down.
Yeah. He does do slapstick quite well,
Yes, he does it very well.
doesn't he? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we've mentioned that. He does do the slapstick element of this really well.
I think the scene that's coming up in a while where he first walks into Hill Valley in 1955.
He does that brilliantly.
He pulls off that moment of absolute awe and wonderment
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
You could actually believe for a moment that he genuinely lived through going back in time.
Now that's interesting. I've never really noticed that. He says "son of a bitch." I watched this when I was 14.
He also says, he also calls the Libyan bastards.
There you go. There goes the pine
Yeah.
tree. So, just remember that, folks.
Yeah, which I remember watching this with my kids and thinking, oh, hang on a minute, they're swearing.
They're swearing in it.
Yeah.
Because is it the executive producer? This is Spielberg behind this.
Spielberg, yeah.
This is what helped get it
Yeah.
made effectively, wasn't it?
Yeah, they had the script and
For a long time, didn't they?
the company weren't really buying it.
No.
And then they sent it to Spielberg and he was like, this works.
Yeah.
I think it might have something to do with the original. What was the original title that they had for it? Spaceman from Pluto was its working title, and I think it was Spielberg that said, no, that's not going to work. How about we call it this?
I have to admit, I mean, I'm not a massive car person. I do love 50s cars, the 1950s
there's
American
a lot
cars,
of them in this
not the
as
ones
well,
in the UK
yeah.
because they're a bit pony, but the 19th with those, all the curves and big bonnet at the front look wonderful, don't
Yeah.
they? So Marty McFly has just turned up at what appears to be where he lives before it's been built.
Yes.
The home of the future.
It's literally just a field at the moment.
He's run out of plutonium. That's
Of
all right.
course.
You can just pop down the road and fill up with plutonium. It's easy. Everyone has plutonium, don't they? Who doesn't have plutonium? So what beers are we up for next day? So let's give you a bit of a preview for the next 3 beers. So we've got one from Spain, one from Sweden, which I managed to avoid getting Sweden, and then we're Scotland.
Yeah.
I shall take the leaflet with me. For anyone who is listening, you've got Steve for a minute.
Okay, so we've got Miller in the background, and here's the scene that we were talking about. You can't believe
I
during
can't
this
walk up to
scene
this
where
scene,
he
can I?
where he's wandering around.
Ronald Reagan is in a film.
Yeah. Seats of 50 cents.
Now the town looks a lot nicer now.
Yes.
1950s Hill Valley looks a lot prettier
In
than
its
1985.
prime.
I wonder if they really meant for it to be like that. So
I think so.
It's very dowdy, run down.
Yeah, and I think the later iterations of it that we see are quite interesting as well.
It gets very dark, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In Back to the Future Part 2. God, look at that. The car turning up to get the petrol and people cleaning the car while they put the petrol in.
Yeah, I know.
I love 50s posters as well.
Yep, and the clock's working.
Look at that.
Clock tower's perfect.
Yeah, so this is his wandering around Hill Valley thinking, this looks familiar but strange.
Yep, and he's getting some very funny looks because of what he's wearing.
Yes.
As
He has
well.
got about 5 layers on, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's all about the layers. He's never heard that clock before.
That's true. Because it hasn't worked since 1955.
Hill Valley, a nice place to live. He is definitely, he really does nail this bit
Yeah.
of the confused, bemused, what's going on.
Absolute wonderment. I think acting-wise, it's probably the best scene in the film.
Yeah.
Where he just has no idea what's going on.
And oddly, not speaking. There's no
Yeah.
there's no talking in this. There's no dialogue, is there? So he just picked up a paper which he said November the 5th, 1955.
Yeah, to confirm that he's
In
travelled back in
1955.
time, yeah.
Oh, look at that Wurlitzer jukebox. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. And this is a recurring joke as well,
Yeah.
isn't it? That 'cause he's wearing a gilet that looks like a life jacket.
Yeah. I didn't get it, first of all, because I just knew them as a body warmer.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what they were on about. Oh, look at that, a phone book.
My word. God, do you remember the old phone books? Do you actually remember phone books?
Yeah. Yeah, I hardly ever found one in one piece then in a phone box though.
That's true.
Which is ironic because he rips out a page of one of
Yeah.
these as well, doesn't he? There you go, look. Vandal.
You know where 1640 Riverside? You an artist, something, kid?
50s diners, there's something about them as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's I wonder if that's why they chose the 50s.
Like me, Pepsi free.
I think it
Do you
probably...
reckon the whole bright, breezy, we were 10 years after the war, do you reckon that's why they chose the 50s? Because everything looks nice.
I think so.
It's a happy period almost, at least as far as it looks.
And here we see young Biff.
Young Biff,
Yeah.
effectively the school bully.
Yep. And he's sat next to his dad.
Yes.
Well, actually, I figured since it wasn't due till Monday. Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think of flying thing. I gotta have time to recover. You realize what would happen if I hand in my homework in your handwriting? I'll get kicked out of school. You wouldn't want that to happen, would you?
And here you can see how young Crispin Glover is.
Yeah, more so than in the earlier scene when you said that they were different. They were, you know, the ages were the other way around.
Yeah. So the concept for the film came about because Bob Gale, one of the writers of the film, had wondered what it would have been like to... He had his dad's yearbook from school, and he wondered what it would be like to have met his dad when he was at school. and that's how he created the whole concept of if you were to go back in time and meet your parents.
Okay. I mean, the yearbook, again, that's a very American thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not something we do over here.
Well,
I don't know, do we?
You don't say that. We have the proms.
We do, yeah.
We have proms, and the amount of fuss about proms now, mate.
Yeah. This scene's brilliant.
Yeah.
Where
He's just leaning over, looking at his dad,
yeah.
and his dad is wondering,
You're George McFly.
"What are you doing? You're staring at me."
Those boys push you around like that for? Well, they're bigger than me. Stand tall, boy. Have some respect for yourself.
It's a very practical answer, though.
Yeah.
They're bigger than me.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life. Look at me. You think I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in this clubhouse? Watch it, Goldie. No, sir. I'm gonna make something of myself. I'm going to night school, and one day I'm gonna be somebody. That's right. He's gonna be mayor.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
There we go. Back to one of the earlier scenes in the film.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
this is
Goldie
where
Wilson.
we're definitely going to need the next beer before we get into this discussion. But we need to talk about how Marty Mcfly, yes, he's just realised he's in 1955. He has no concept of time travel,
Yeah.
though.
So there's Hershey's chocolate, Wrigley spearmint gum.
Oh, look, he's calling double calls.
I think that's quite a good double, that
Yeah.
one.
Oh no, George is gone.
Right, I'm going to go and get beers.
Okay. So have I got to talk on my own to
Yeah.
myself about the film?
Yeah. It's all down to you, Steve.
Well, we've just got lots of Marty running around at the moment. He's looking for his dad. Okay, so we've found George McFly. He's in a tree with a pair of binoculars. He's looking across the street through a window at a young lady getting changed.
Disgusting.
Yes, and Marty's just realised that his dad's a peeping Tom.
I see, that's not something you ever want to find out, is
No. And now his dad's fallen out of the tree. And oh my god, Marty saved him and he's been hit by a car. Marty's just got knocked over.
it? Marty's out.
He's out for the count. And George is up and off he goes. He's running away now. Look at this.
Oh, that's shameful.
Yeah.
Your dad's just run off.
I know.
That's wrong. Okay, so the next beer, Steve, that you've selected, and I
Yeah.
did agree with, so everyone knows it's not just you, is the Spanish beer, the from Basque Land Brewing Project, an amber ale. So why have we chosen this one, Steve?
Well, we're a little bit behind where we should be in the film. I chose it to originally go with the scene of Marty arriving in 1955 that we thought was so good. Because there's a lot going on in that scene, and by all accounts, the description on this beer is it's a complex beer. So I thought the complexity of the beer would go nicely with what's going on in there. And here we see Marty's mum, young,
Looking a lot younger.
gotta say, cracking.
Yeah.
As well. As a teenage boy watching this film, I was very much taken by Lee Thompson at the time.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, I would have been equally taken if Jennifer had been in it for longer.
Yeah.
But she's the main woman, and she's the female lead, isn't she?
Yeah.
So cheers, Steve.
Cheers.
So this is as I said, the Basque Brewing Project from Spain. It's a 5% amber ale. Actually a second red ale.
Yeah, I know.
So although it says amber ale, it says a complex red ale with passion fruit and mango aromas and taste of ground coffee and grapefruit. Oh, let's tuck in and
That's
find
why I
out.
said there was lots going on in it.
Definitely getting the fruity aroma.
It's got a lovely nose on it. It's a really nice balance between sort of red fruits and again a bit of caramel, a bit of toffee in there. Not really getting the coffee.
Not at the moment, but I've just taken it out of the fridge, so perhaps
Yeah.
it needs a few minutes warming up.
Right.
Have we missed the Calvin Klein bit?
Yes.
We talked over that bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
She called him Calvin Klein.
Because he's wearing Calvin Klein underwear.
Yeah.
And here's another great slapstick moment.
Which bloke hasn't fallen over when they tried to put
Yeah.
the jeans on standing up?
So now, again, I think in this, Lee Thompson plays the love-struck teenage girl perfectly for
Yeah.
the whole of this scene. She cannot stop looking at him.
No. Hey, Uncle Joey's in a playpen of bars. I like this moment. Better get used to these bars, kid.
Because, of course, we talked all over that at the beginning as well, that the scene around the family table was
Yeah.
supposed to be a
Homecoming for Uncle Joey.
who didn't get his parole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam, stop fiddling with that thing. Come in here and eat your dinner.
So he's setting up the black and white TV.
Yes, and it's a big thing, isn't it? Because
It's
it's,
a-
their first TV.
It's a box. It's a massive box. Is that a bottle of Miller?
That was a bottle of Miller, yeah.
That looks very similar to what it is now.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming they were fairly faithful. I mean, I haven't seen anything to say that they were being unfaithful to the branding at the time.
No,
'Cause people
they
would
would have
pick-
put the time in to
People
make
would have
it
picked
sure.
that up, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
No, because there was an episode of Life on Mars where someone picked up that Red Barrel was on the bar, but the time period Sam was in, it wasn't. It shouldn't have been there.
Too far before it.
Brand new. Yeah, well, I saw it on
So, again, he's no concept of what he's doing here.
No.
Could.
Has he watched no science fiction?
Well, you know, you don't...
I think maybe you do.
When was
Actually,
your...
I suppose the character of Michael J. Fox, apart from the doc, he's the cool kid.
Yeah, but
He probably didn't watch much sci-fi.
before this, so to go back to the first time you see this,
Yeah.
as a sort of teenager, this was my first introduction to the concept of time travel.
Oh, what's the matter with you? No Doctor Who?
Not in my teenage
Oh, I
years,
don't know why
no.
we're friends.
I'll get me coach.
I misjudged you.
Well, no.
You see, for me, there was bits of the film where I was thinking, what are you doing? There are laws about time travel.
Govern this, yeah.
Everything you do can change the future.
Yeah? Just a brilliant scene this is.
Brilliant, where she touches his knee. And he's out.
Yeah,
He's gone.
He's gone.
Strange young man.
He's an idiot. Comes from upbringing. Probably idiots too. Lorraine, you ever have a kid who acts that way? I'll disown you.
So many little in-jokes and
just that.
comments.
Yeah. But of course, that was supposed to be his dad
Yeah.
that she fell for. But,
So he's already mucked up time.
yeah, so time's already screwed
Completely
at this point.
skewed.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, George McFly, at this moment in time, there's no chance
Absolutely not, no.
with Marty McFly's mum. There's no way these two people cross over each other.
Because she's fallen for him.
Well, even just in general, if you're talking
Yeah.
about the characters, he's a nerd, brainy, obviously very academic, likes his sci-fi.
Yeah.
She's none of those.
And,
Their
but
paths don't cross.
also, he shouldn't be there. He doesn't exist in this timeline.
Yeah. So now he's met the doc from 1955, who looks the same.
I think he looks a bit younger.
Not by much.
Not by much.
Not by
but
30 years.
This was before the de-aging technology that we now
Yes.
see in many Marvel films, where they essentially bring back the younger version of the actor.
Yeah. And done it very well, I have to admit. The technology now is very good for that.
Yeah. I mean, what
Yeah.
they did with Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah, but I was going to say the start of Ant-Man.
Oh, Michael Douglas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I need your help to get back to the year.
And also Robert Downey Jr. in Civil War.
Yes.
They de-age him as well.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Is that a word? De-aging a word?
That's the process. It's called
Oh, okay.
de-aging. Yeah.
So the doc's a mad scientist in 1955,
Clearly.
isn't he? He's bonkers.
He's a bonkers scientist, full stop.
Yeah. So people avoid him.
Yep.
Okay, all right, I'll prove it to you. Look at my driver's license. Expires 1987. Look at my birthday, for crying out loud. I haven't even been born yet. And
So here he is trying to prove that he's from the future.
Yeah.
look at the sweatshirt, Doc. Class of 1984. Pretty
See, I didn't notice that.
Neither did I. That's the first time
First time I've
I've noticed
noticed
that.
Even though he says that every time.
Yeah.
Cut off your brother's hair. I never even thought about it. But his brother's hair is already disappearing.
Because he's already started affecting the future.
Yeah. He must have, obviously the doc came from money.
Clearly, yeah.
Because there's a big house.
Yeah.
The barn is big enough to live in. So what do we think of the red ale? Bearing in mind that before we spoke about red ale, it was earlier today, and I don't know if I'm enjoying it as much as the first one.
I've got to say, I think it needs to warm a bit.
Yeah. It's quite dry at the end, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm actually wondering if we skip ahead to the next beer
And save it to come back to.
and revisit this. Come back to it.
Look at that planning. I haven't had any more popcorn yet. I've never had popcorn in beer before.
It works.
You should take popcorn to the Essex Bottle Show.
That'd dry a few things up, wouldn't it?
We need to drink more beer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure we need to do that.
No.
So, let's go back to the list then. The next one is from Sweden. So it can only be one brewery from Sweden, Omnipollo. As I'm sure most people have heard of. So we're going to have an oatmeal pale ale. A very distinctive bottle from them.
Yep. Mazarin. Not really much of a description on this one.
Does it say not much at all then?
No, it says calms a hop yearning without fuddling the brain too much. An extra special pale ale.
Maybe not after you've had 4 before it.
Maybe not, no, but
So in their minimalist style that they often have, there's just it looks like a candle melting on the front.
yeah. And originally my thinking was that we drank this with the previous scene, which was the scene where there was a lot of time travel stuff going on in the background, and having a fairly simple drink to go with that so we could enjoy the time travel discussion.
You mean the nerdy bit?
Yeah, we're a little out of sync though.
Are we?
Yeah.
We can catch up.
That was always possible
Cheers.
though, wasn't it? Cheers.
Cool, this is hazy.
Okay.
I said hazy, just for the record. So, rate beer 95, a 5.6, oatmeal pale ale. So I'm assuming the haziness comes from the oatmeal in.
Yeah. 1.21 gigawatts. There we go. That's what it was.
Still got no idea what that is.
But Doc's now having an absolute meltdown over it.
So you won't be able to play darts now. The car's in the way.
Yeah.
It's got a lovely aroma.
I'm dropping the popcorn.
You've thrown the popcorn around my house.
Yep. Because you won't let me pour the beers because we're in your house and I always spill when
You do. So now you're throwing popcorn
yeah,
on the floor
I'm just gonna
instead.
throw popcorn all over the place.
Oh, that's sharp. I'm loving that sharpness.
It's a real cutting.
That is.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know what? If you were just eating the sweet popcorn, that would cut right through it.
Yeah, it goes right through, doesn't it?
Yeah. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Really enjoying that. I haven't actually got that much experience with Omnipollo beers.
Had a few now.
I mean, obviously the famous one I've had is the collaboration with Buxton.
Yeah.
But they've done more than one collaboration, haven't they?
Yeah, they did all the ice cream series were with Omnipollo. They do a few collaborations with others as well.
Okay, I wonder if then what I am missing from my Omnipollo history is just their beers.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the all-important leaflet that he had in his pocket that tells you when lightning's going to strike.
Which will equal 1.21 gigawatts of power.
Brilliantly.
How did you know that?
I'm not sure there's any science behind that at all.
But so far we're willing to believe that a DeLorean can travel 30 years in the past anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, there we go. No, you can't.
No.
Doc.
Because you've already done too much damage.
See, look, Doc's realising.
Yeah.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Marty, you interacted with anybody else today besides me?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I might have sort of bumped into my parents. Great Scott. Let me see that photograph again of your brother.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Just as I thought. This proves my theory. Look at your brother.
Oh, his head's gone.
It's like he's been erased.
Erase from existence.
Oh!
Clean this place up.
Now remember, according to my theory, you interfere with your parents' first meeting. If they don't meet, they won't fall in love, they won't get married, and they
So he's going to go to school, which looks a lot nicer than 30 years later.
It does.
The
And
Hill
there's,
Valley High School looks a lot better.
There's a little bit of Doc explaining the time paradox to him here
Yes.
as well.
Basically, you've cocked it up so far.
Yeah, can you stop messing it up?
Yeah.
So here's his dad, who's essentially the school nerd.
Dweeb.
Yeah. So should we have some Crispin Glover facts
Go on.
while we're here? Okay, so in Back to the Future 2 and 3, so parts 2 and 3, he doesn't appear in part 3
No.
at all, and he makes a fleeting appearance in part 2. He turned down appearing in the sequels because they didn't offer him enough money. Essentially, he felt as though his character was worth more than they were offering him. So what they did, particularly in episode 2, remember he was hanging upside down in the future?
Yeah.
That was another actor essentially wearing a face mask of Crispin Glover to hide the fact that it wasn't him. So he ended up suing them over using his likeness, and ended up winning more money than they offered him to appear in the films. And anyway,
Oh, no, you say, I remember thinking, I'm not a big fan of the suing thing,
yeah.
but I was thinking, quite well played though.
But and as a result, that it was that case that set the precedence for actors' likenesses being used in films, and that they had to be remunerated if their likeness was used in a
Okay.
film with or without their permission.
So it became part of case law then.
Essentially, yeah. So, Back to the Future itself, set in a little bit of history.
It is. Well, I've almost finished my
Yeah.
my beer, so I know it's a little bit hazy, which isn't your thing really, but I'm loving the fresh sharpness of it.
It's
got a lovely fruity flavour as well.
it's thick in body as well, which probably comes from the oats that they've used in it. There is a lovely citrusy tinge to it, and there is an incredible sharpness to the finish. It's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, I think that beer ticks a lot of boxes.
See, Dad, they're supposed to go with this. That's where they kissed for the first time.
It's a lovely bit of finish, a real cutting bitterness on that finish. So Marty's still trying to convince his dad that he wants to take his mum.
Yeah,
this
I'm
one.
sure he fancies his mum, his future wife, but there's no way those two people would meet in high school, usually.
No, they're completely different, opposite ends of the spectrum, aren't they?
Yeah.
Visitors coming down to Earth from other planets.
So basically, it's just revealed
That he's into a bit of sci-fi.
he's into a bit of sci-fi,
Yeah,
which is obviously a revelation to his son.
yeah. And generally, he's a young man lacking in confidence.
Very much lacking in confidence, isn't he? He doesn't like rejection.
No, a very private person.
No, not hard at all. So anyway, George, probably.
So there you go. So we've got beer number 6 from the Behemoth Box open.
Tell you that she wants you to ask
Now this is a very light coloured beer.
dance for the week.
So this is a slightly odd style sometimes. India Pale Lager.
Yeah, I still don't know if I'm sold on that as a style.
No. The only other one I really know of is the old IPA that Camden did,
Yeah.
which I was quite a fan of, to be fair. 4.5%, so quite light in ABV, isn't
Let's
it?
just call. Let's stop using India Pale Lager and let's call things a hoppy lager, if that's what we want to call them. Okay, so Biff is back and being a bully.
And trying it on with Marty's mum.
Yeah, which Marty's far from happy with, obviously.
Yeah. However, Marty's about a foot and a half shorter.
Yes, yeah.
At least by the way the shot's been done as well.
Yeah. It's done very well, this.
Yeah. He's not backing off, though.
And clearly, he's the only person that's ever stood up to Biff in this school. Because he's from a different time.
And as we know, Marty doesn't back down.
No. But that doesn't come out in this film.
No.
That word isn't used.
No, but it comes out later on.
Yeah. It's make like a tree and leave.
Yeah.
Biff. Not.
And George has disappeared.
Again. Which he's very good at. So Marty's still chasing him. Marty now in 50s attire, should we say, as well.
Not sure about the 50s attire. I like the design of the diner and the cars and the buildings.
Do you think they're off with the clothes?
No. I think they're probably. I think they might be on, but just looks like I'm a fan of it.
Oh, I'm not a fan of it.
There's a lot of slacks
Yeah.
being worn, isn't there? They had jeans in the 1950s. They had jeans in the gold rush.
Oh, his brother's almost completely disappeared from
His
the picture.
brother's down to calves and socks.
Yes, yeah. So now we're we have
We're at George's house, aren't we?
George is asleep.
Oh, now we are dating this film
Hang
quite
on.
firmly now.
What's this that Marty's holding?
It's a Walkman
What sort of Walkman?
cassette.
Oh, it's not
Iowa.
a Sony Walkman.
No,
I would have put money on that being Sony.
yeah, well, Sony or JVC, but Sony would
Yeah.
have been the one I would have gone for. So George McFly has now just been woken up by those old-fashioned foam headphones on his ears,
Yes.
playing Van Halen.
And again, Marty has no concept of time travel. He's just referred to himself as Darth Vader.
Yeah, and now he's just done a Spock
Yeah.
live long and prosper sign.
Yeah. So therefore ruining two future concepts.
Yes. Now he's trying to undo the Pepsi Cola bottle just by twist and turn.
Yeah, because it's not a twist cap.
Yeah, but it's the 1950s.
Yeah.
They don't exist.
No. So
Fortunately,
there's a bottle opener
yeah,
right next
George
to
can
it.
help out there.
Yeah.
Last night, Darth Vader came down from planet Vulcan and told me that if I didn't take Lorraine out, then he'd melt my brain.
Darth Vader from Planet Vulcan. So maybe I did him a disservice. Maybe Marty McFly did know a bit about sci-fi.
Well, clearly.
Would you have done that? I mean, if you were, what age are we saying that these guys are supposed to be? 18, 17, 18, 19?
No, I think probably... I think we're supposed to believe they're 16, 17
Okay.
in high school in the States.
There is no way at the age of 16 or 17 I was going up to a Leia Thompson and asking her to the dance.
Not when she was with three of her friends in a diner.
Yeah. Well, even if she was on her own, it's unlikely she would have done it. But
no, absolutely not.
there's a quote in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire where Ron says, "Why do they always go around in packs?"
Yes, yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
The worst thing about it, if you ever went to a club where you're trying to chat someone up with, girls were in pairs or even numbers. And they needed to be odd numbers if you needed to talk to one of them.
Give me milk. Chocolate.
Oh, chocolate milk. Go, George.
Yeah, so George has got a newfound confidence.
Yeah. He's had his chocolate milkshake.
Yeah.
He's got his notepad, which is very obviously in front of him.
Clearly.
Has brought me to you. What?
Those words came out
Yeah.
all wrong.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
I'm quite enjoying this beer. It's very light. We can probably agree on the odd name of style, but
Yeah.
it's a very easy drinking lager.
It's easy, yeah. Oh no. So Biff's just walked in
Yeah,
again.
Biff's walked in.
Okay, so this is the scene coming up where
Yep.
it was
Eric
Stoltz.
Okay.
Still.
Why is that guy wearing 3D glasses?
I don't know. Because it was a thing in the
Yeah.
50s, maybe?
Well, that was the first
Oh.
time that 3D was talked about, wasn't it?
Yeah. Biff just seems to get bigger.
That's really well done, that bit.
Yeah.
Now, what? Whoa, Biff. What's that?
That bit right there, where he clocks him, is apparently still the Eric
original
Stoltz
Stoltz bit.
scheme. And
Maybe they decided that Biff didn't need to be punched twice. Here we go.
now this is the scene of the film for me.
Yeah, so this is the reason why we've got this beer for this scene, isn't it? So
Because
this, I don't even know if I named the beer.
no,
did I?
you didn't. This is Cromarty Brewing Co. Cool Runnings, which is an India Pale Lager, which we're pairing with the classic chase scene,
Round the Hill Valley Square, effectively.
where Marty Mcfly has essentially just invented the skateboard,
Yeah. So again,
ruining history
Yeah.
for everybody. Yeah,
unless the skateboard was invented in 1955.
possibly, but you know, big musical score at the same time
Yeah.
as well.
He's doing a little bit of showboating there as well.
And his mum's falling further for
Yeah,
him.
because he's taken on Biff and he's invented the skateboard
Yeah.
and he's hanging off the back of a pickup truck. All Converse.
Of course, because there wouldn't have been Nike in the
No.
50s.
Was Nike around in the 50s or not?
Don't think so. I think he would have been wearing them if they were around
No.
in the 50s, wouldn't he?
Because they would have been just for running.
Yeah.
A bit like his life preserve.
Yes. Yeah.
They wouldn't have been casual wear.
I love this bit.
Well, when he's on the front of the bonnet.
Yeah. And the bit that comes up.
Yeah. So here we go.
Yeah.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
go
There he
on.
goes. On the skateboard. Into the manure
Yes, and here we have Biff's first experience,
of the manure. Ooh.
which again becomes a recurring theme throughout the series.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Now there's a...
Can you skateboard?
No, never been able to do it.
No.
Haven't got the balance.
I'm gonna get that son of a bitch.
See, son of a bitch again.
Yeah.
It's a PG.
Thomas F. Wilson has gone on from...
So that's who plays Biff,
That's
isn't
who
it?
plays Biff. And he... apparently he's known for making fun of his appearance in this film. And at the same time, he's also fed up with the same questions that he gets asked over and over again
Well,
about it.
was it real manure?
One of them being, was that real manure? And by all accounts, apparently he used to have a business card that he used to give people that had answers to all the questions that they would ask on it when they met him.
So like a frequently asked question.
Yeah, but he's also got, and I'll play out this episode with it as our exit theme, but he's got this fantastic YouTube video.
Oh, I remember you saying about that.
Which is about all of the
And
questions.
he sings it. Does he sing it?
He sings it, and it's just brilliant. It's basically the answers to all of the questions he constantly gets asked about Back to the Future, which is just, and it's just brilliant. It's fantastic.
No, that's good modelling.
That is very good modelling.
So the Docs created a model of Hill Valley.
But again, not for the first time, or for the last time. We do see models of Hill Valley again in the future.
Yes.
Or in the past.
But very well done.
Yes, always well done.
Always well done. I love the term flux capacitor.
Yes. That we've now just solved this by putting a big hook on the back of the car, basically.
They will harness all of the lightning.
Yeah, through that singular hook.
Saturday night, lightning will strike the clock tower, electrifying the cable just as a connecting hook makes contact, thereby sending 1.21 gigawatts into the flux capacitor and sending you back to 1985. All right, now.
Perfect. Just have to be really exact on your timing, though.
Yeah.
Really exact on your timing.
I'll simulate the lightning.
You wouldn't want to be a minute late or...
Even a second late.
No.
Well, we're not talking minutes
You'd
here.
miss it completely, wouldn't
Yeah. That's your chance. Gone.
you? Yeah.
Your time travel chance is gone. So this is the little test run on the model. Oh, I quite enjoyed that. I mean, it was
It's,
good. There was definitely a good choice. The cool runnings definitely went.
Well, it's a beer that you're going to drink while you're watching that scene. Like I say, for me, I remember coming out of this film and just remembering that scene above all else and almost wanting to start skateboarding as a result. So I could do that thing where you push the skateboard under the car and run over the top.
Yeah, a little bit dangerous though.
A little bit dangerous, but...
Especially if, like me, weren't you growing up in London then?
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been great.
But everyone wanted to be Marty McFly for a while.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Although I'd moved to Ipswich by the time this came out. I was in tractor boy country by this point. I was definitely in the countryside. Oh, Mum's turned up.
Oh dear.
Hide the time machine. So if it was a TARDIS, you could just stick it in the corner.
It's a car.
Well, I suppose it's a bit of a different looking car though from then, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, what I think this film captures really well is just that teenage innocence that you go through of how big a moment it is to actually go and ask someone out.
Yes.
And this does, that the actors act that out really well.
So she asks him.
She asks him to the dance.
Yeah, having specifically said that in her day, girls did not chase boys.
Did not chase boys.
It's a bit right, but it's hard to believe that she hasn't got a date for the dance already.
Yeah, because she's a stunner. But the fact that it's just the way she portrays it, that she's all out of breath.
Yeah.
And you can tell she's genuinely caught up and excited by the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I think a man should be strong.
The dog.
Doc in the background here.
I don't think I've ever fully appreciated his reaction in the background.
It's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, what have you done?
Yeah.
So the Doc is in one of my other favourite films, Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Is he?
Mm-hmm. He's the baddie. He's the detective.
Oh, he
trying to-
never is.
He is.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
That's why we gotta show it that you, George McFly, are fighters. You're so
So, next beer. I think I have to go to the fridge again and leave you to yourself again.
Oh, really? Already?
Yeah. So we've got beer from America again.
Yep.
Jolly Pumpkin Calabaza Blanca. That's not easy to say. You wouldn't want to order that later night, would you?
Not really.
I was a bit nervous when it said the word pumpkin, I have to admit.
What, you thought we were going to be getting a
pumpkin
a surprise out of season
Pumpkin's always out of season.
pumpkin beer?
Pumpkin's never in season.
Yeah.
go touch her on her. No, George. Look, it's just
Okay, so this says very different. Artisan white ale, barrel aged and bottle conditioned. So barrel aged and bottle conditioned from the States.
It's a barrel-aged saison.
Aged in a large oak cask and fermented in the bottle. Calabaza Blanca is brewed in Belgium Bières Blanche tradition. Spiced with orange peel and coriander, you'll find it refreshingly tart with a wonderfully dry finish. A year-round favourite for sure. I wonder if it's a year-round favourite for either or both of us, to be honest. But it's a really unusual mix for I don't know if I've had a bottle conditioned American beer before.
Not generally something they do, is it?
No, it's very unusual.
So we've moved on to the night of the dance then.
And so we'll get to, we won't say why this beer has been chosen for this scene until we get to the moment.
Yeah, not just yet. Maybe we should a little revisit of the Basque land, maybe?
Yeah.
See if it's warmed a little.
See if it's warmed up a little bit.
Now I'm gonna be around to see 1985. Then I'm gonna succeed in this. Then I'm gonna have a chance to travel through time.
See, now this in particular, surely this whole thing should have impacted in Doc's ability to have produced the time machine.
Well, yeah, because he would have, in theory, he should be able to produce it quicker and earlier.
But what if he's always had this moment?
So there becomes a bit of a, I don't want to say it because that becomes a bit of a spoiler for other programmes we watch. I was thinking Flash there for a moment. Becomes its own paradox.
Yeah.
What chicken and egg? What came first? Was it the Doc inventing the time machine, or being told he's going to invent the time machine?
That gives him the impetus to
do it.
invent the time machine, yeah.
Well, I've got issues about the Flash mucking around with time travel recently as well. Again.
We can't talk about the Flash because I'm a couple of weeks ahead.
Yes, that's true.
And I'll just spoil the whole
Yeah.
thing for you. But it's interesting because in episode 2 of Back to the Future, they do draw a timeline and explain how time
which
works.
they copy almost exactly
in Flash. Which I thought, if that wasn't a nod to Back to the Future,
had to be,
because it was. You could literally take the two drawings and superimpose them on one another.
Well, I still wasn't getting much to coffee, having gone back to this the second time, the Battleland Brewing project, but I felt like I was getting a little bit more in the flavour coming through.
So there's certainly the fruitiness. It's got like hints of bitterness in the background that may or may not be from...
The dryness started to come through a bit more.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I would say on that one. Anyway, and just to be responsible drinking, I'm going to have a quick swig of water.
And we're now at the dance, which is Marvin Berry.
Yeah, Marvin Berry playing at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance.
Yeah. That was a interesting name for an act.
They had bloody proms in the 50s then.
Clearly, it's an American institution, isn't it? The prom?
How did it become an institution over here?
I don't know.
It's a joke. It's an expensive joke.
Right, get the beer poured.
Get the beer out.
Things are about to get uncomfortable.
We're coming to the reason for being.
Do you mind if we park for a while?
Park? That means something else, doesn't it? You can't say park to your mum.
I think it does. I think so. So Marty's mum revealing that she's maybe a little bit more wild than
she's let on before.
Yes, absolutely.
And she understands the terminology park.
Yep. And she's now swigging something from a bottle, which she's really proud of as well.
But she swiped it.
Yeah.
You might regret it.
God, that's got some nose on it.
Oh, that's a bit cider, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now Marty's having a swig.
And his mum's just lit up. It's a brilliant scene. It's just so well done.
Pepsi again, upside down. Never noticed that one before.
We're going to take a little break, but we'll be back in the file, so don't nobody go nowhere.
So I like the way George is the only one wearing a white tux.
And there's some interesting suggestion here as well. He was just drinking from the punch bowl. In future episodes, you see Biff and his crew spiking that particular punch bowl. So there's suggestion that gave him some of the bravado that we're about to see.
Okay. And Lorraine's revealed a rather revealing dress.
Very revealing dress, yes.
To her son.
So, which probably explains my thinking behind drinking this beer at this moment.
She's now just dived into, well, basically snogging.
Yep, and hang on.
Oh.
There's a realisation there.
This is a little bit weird.
That's not right, is it? It's maybe a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Which is why I chose to drink a Saison with this moment.
Yeah, what did you think when the Saison appeared in the box then?
I was a little bit like, really?
It's almost like they listen to the show and know what you like. I'm loving the nose on it though.
But, saying that, it has got a fantastic nose.
It's very fruity.
It's very fruity, it's very zingy.
Yes.
As well.
But the carbonation's helping that, isn't it?
And there's nothing really Saison-y about it. There's none of that funk that I dislike in a Saison.
You know what I'm really loving? I'm not getting into the coriander.
Yeah.
Oh, Biff's turned up again.
Biff's arrived.
This is coming up to one of the biggest highlights of the film.
Yeah.
One of the big moments. This is a showpiece moment.
It's what essentially makes the film, isn't it?
Yeah, so basically, Biff has got his henchmen to get rid of Marty.
Yeah. And Biff's now having his way with Marty's mum, for all intents and purposes.
Right, so Marty's now been chucked in the boot of the car.
Yep.
What the hell are you doing in my car?
Oh dear.
Just don't get serious.
Oof.
Oof.
More uncomfortableness.
Hey, listen, guys. Look, I don't want to mess with no reefer addicts, okay?
So reefer's just another term for weed, I'm presuming.
Yeah. Because they've all got out of a smoking car.
Say that again. I said the keys are in here.
So Marty's trapped in the boot of the car of the band who's playing. Marvin Berry's band.
Yep. And George has just turned up thinking it's Marty in the car
Yeah.
with Lorraine.
Hey, you, get your damn hands off.
Oh no. Oh, it's Biff.
George, help me. Just turn around and fly and walk away.
Sorry, we're just watching this moment now.
Yeah, we are.
We know what we're building up to here.
We've kind of stopped.
No, Biff. You leave her.
Oh, go on, George.
You're asking for it. But now you're going to get it.
Oh, George just swung a punch.
No. And here comes the moment that's going to change history.
Yeah. Well,
Or one of them.
one of the moments.
One of the many.
The whole of the 1950s is about to implode on itself thanks to Marty
Yeah.
McFly. Come on, George.
Oh.
I love this bit. I
Oh,
love the
yeah.
way they film it.
Yeah.
The fist
It's
slowly
perfect.
clenching. It comes back. Bang.
Biff's sudden realisation that he's about to stand up for himself as well.
Yeah.
Down he goes.
Oh, and Biff is out.
And what you get to see that from another angle as well, don't you, in episode 2?
Yes.
Which is great. I think that's how episode 2 is done so well.
Oh, yeah, but there's certain bits of episode 2 which shouldn't exist.
Well, yeah, we'll come on to that.
70% of the film.
Let's get to the end of this one first, and then we'll cover off parts 2 and 3.
And suddenly a whole load of people just suddenly appear. Why are they not in the dance?
Yeah,
They've all come rushing out to see Biff lying on the floor.
yeah.
George McFly.
So I get confused. I think he sold his wallet.
But the picture,
It's still disappearing.
yeah, his sister's now
Why is
halfway vanished.
Yeah.
So he has what, so it's 4 minutes past 10 the clock, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he's got about 33 minutes.
To do what he needs to do and get to the start line.
Yeah, but there's no
in
point getting to the start
DeLorean.
line unless he's got his mum and dad together.
Exactly.
If they don't kiss, don't matter what he does.
Yep.
They can't dance. If they can't dance, they can't kiss. If they can't kiss, they can't fall in love and have history.
Hey man, dance is over. Unless you know somebody else that can play the guitar.
Oh, of course we do.
At least he's got a proper sized guitar now.
Yeah.
This is for all you lovers out there.
I do like 50s music.
Yeah.
I have to admit.
The soundtrack to this is just incredible.
Yeah.
It
I think because
works so well with the film.
because you span 2 different decades as well, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Come on, George.
Come on, you've just decked Biff.
You've decked Biff. Come on.
And look, Marty's disappearing.
He's
Come
literally
on.
vanishing before
Yeah.
our eyes.
It's interesting because we were saying there were hardly any special effects used in this, and we're about to see one of the worst examples of the special
Yeah,
effects
this is
that
rubbish.
was used. The disappearing hand.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
That's dreadful, that one. They would have been better off just having nothing there
Yeah.
to start off with.
Just keep looking at the picture.
Yeah.
Slowly disappearing. It's just
Come on,
like-
George.
Yeah.
Oh, George is pushing everyone
George
around
is a
now.
big hero now, isn't he?
Oh,
Look.
come on. Go in for it, George. Go on, George. There he goes.
And all of a sudden, Marty springs back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the moment that the song's at its peak as well.
I have to admit, I'm really enjoying this beer.
I'm actually really enjoying it as well.
So, although you chose it because it may be a slightly uncomfortable beer for you to go with a bit of an uncomfortable moment
Yeah.
between mum and son in the car, This is a bit like this moment. It's turned out really well.
It's worked to the point where actually everything's good. I've got to say though, in terms of the range of beers that we've had in this box,
It's a good range.
it's a really good selection of beers.
It's a good
You're
mix.
literally getting to try a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's a good mix
in
of beers.
here.
So yeah, definitely thank the guys for this one. So if I was in a shop, I would not have picked this up anyway.
I wouldn't have done.
I would have picked up something which said artisan white ale, refreshingly tart, wild saison, coriander.
No, that would have been well off of my list.
So here we go. He's going to muck up history again.
Yeah.
It is one of the classic 50s tracks though.
It is, and it's a good job that the band is led by Marvin Berry, isn't it?
It is. If only he was related to someone else.
Well, who knows?
Now, did he sing this or did someone else sing
I
it
think
for
so. I
him?
think because he's a musician as well,
Yeah.
isn't he? Or he was a musician.
Yeah.
And I think he genuinely did this bit. Yeah.
Because this doesn't look synced.
no, you can tell when it's synced, can't you?
Well, that's a bit annoying then, isn't it? So you can sing and act and play
Yeah.
guitar. Nah. Probably don't like him really.
So now all of a sudden, Sir George is now this big hero that
Yeah.
everybody wants to know.
Yeah, stand for class president.
Yeah. He knocked out Biff. He's got the girl, and now everyone wants to know him.
But so he's got his mum and dad back together, but in a completely different way.
Yeah.
By George being a hero.
Yeah. So that might have an impact in the future.
Yeah, as opposed to being a peeping Tom knocked over by a car.
And while we've been chatting, so Marvin has just phoned his cousin
Called Chuck.
Chuck Berry, and who obviously then goes on to record this song.
Obviously, Marty didn't trademark it.
Clearly not. Yeah.
Amateur. He's getting a little bit carried away on the old electric guitar now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gone all 80s on the electric guitar now.
He's getting very strange looks by all. Loving the white socks though.
Yeah.
That was very 80s.
Yeah. We're now kicking over amps and. So he's essentially having the moment that he was denied at the beginning of the film, isn't he?
That's what
It's
he
the
wanted
first
to do.
time I've
the audition,
realised that. Yeah.
That was his moment.
Yeah.
I've got to play it live now. Oh, there's Strickland.
Can't guess you guys are
Pretty much looking the same.
Yeah.
but your kids are gonna love it.
Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Went down really well.
Went down exceptionally well. And actually,
That's possibly, to this point, my favourite
a
bit.
highlight. Yeah. I think actually, if we put aside trying to match films with certain scenes, films with beers,
Beers with scenes in the film?
scenes, yeah,
All the right words in
it
the wrong order.
worked at the right place.
Yes.
After all of the other beers that we've had, because actually what it's done is it's kind of cleansed the palate a
It
little
has
bit.
cleansed the palate, and there's a good reason why we need the palate cleansed.
There is, because there's a big beer coming
Yeah.
up to finish with.
Yeah, we're coming back to England for the next beer.
We are.
So we're going to Weird Beard Sadako. And for those of you not familiar with this beer, it's a 9.2 Imperial Stout.
Oh yeah.
And thankfully, Weird Beard thought the best thing to do with this is to put it into a 660 bottle.
And to wax seal it as well.
Yeah,
we
but
removed
that earlier.
You removed that earlier.
Yeah, I've only cut one finger off doing the
Yeah.
wax seal.
Such a nice name.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So I've cracked open the Weird Beard, and
God, it's got some nose on it, hasn't it?
It smells lovely.
So is this barrel aged?
I don't know. It doesn't
Assuming
say
it
on the
is.
leaflet. But let's have a little look on the. This is brewed with a base of 10 different malts. Hide your phone. Drink with sumptuous dessert and one eye looking over your shoulder. Nothing about barrel aging on here.
It must have been barrel aged for them to have wax sealed it.
No mention though.
Okay, so probably the pivotal scene in the movie now.
Yeah.
Marty's going back to the future.
He is. And so he's just looked at the picture. Him, his brother, his sister, all whole again.
Yep. So setting the time circuits. So this is the bit that always gets me. It's that whole time paradox thing. It'll be like you've never left.
Yep.
But you'll have a memory of the Doc now has a memory of this happening.
Yep.
So when he gets...
Yeah, but that goes back to Doctor Who. He's now part of the event. You can't not remember it when you're part of the event.
Right.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's just
In Doctor Who, once you become part of the event, you remember it.
the whole paradoxical thing just gets me time after time.
I think it gets you the more you watch it.
Yeah. I've still not actually tasted this beer yet. I'm just sitting here.
I just realised the same
sniffing
thing.
it.
I was just smelling it. I thought I should probably taste it at some point.
I mean, it just looks great
It's
as
a
well.
great. It's a great end of evening beer to have at 10 to 5. I have to admit, if I'd ordered this box and I'm looking through it thinking, I don't know any of these, and then suddenly I pull out a weird big 9.5% MP Stout,
Yeah.
I'd be pretty chuffed with that.
I'd be happy with this box as well.
It's a big finish to the box.
Yeah.
Because even without the film, if you were doing the box in order,
Yeah.
this would still be your last beer.
You would do this, yeah. I mean, this was always going to be our last beer before we even felt.
Let's see, what is he trying to do? He's trying to change history.
Trying to warn the Doc about something that might happen.
The Doc's dead, Marty.
Yeah.
You can't tell him he's going to be dead.
Oh no!
The tree's just fallen on the wire. We've got 6 minutes to go.
Does this now happen in real time then?
I was just about to ask you
From
that.
this moment.
So let's have a look. Okay.
Because it's always felt like quite a tense scene.
Yeah. It's done really well.
I'm putting the stopwatch on to see if it's done in real time. Because if it is, that just adds another level to this
It
movie
can't be
for
far.
me.
It can't be far off. Because this is a big finish. I mean, the film is it's a big build with a small middle and a big finish.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's that typically kind of perilous finish as well. That will they, won't they? Is it going to happen?
You always assume it is going to happen, but it's done so well. But there are moments where you think, oh, you could miss this.
Yeah.
He could miss this moment.
Yeah.
10:04 is now 1 minute to 10.
And there's the moment where he connects it, and then it becomes disconnected again.
At the bottom.
And it's like he's like
His
going
face.
nuts because he's trying to get to it.
No, you can't tell him about the future.
Come on, Marty. Surely you've worked it out by now.
You're rubbish at this. Oh, so we've got 4 minutes. Marty, get in the car. Don't ruin the Doc's next 30 years by telling him he's going to die.
And there's a thing here, and there's a suggestion in other time travel movies as well that sometimes time will push back against itself. So if you're about to change a moment in history, time will stop that from happening.
Yeah, that's one of the central themes in Doctor Who. There's fixed points.
Yeah.
There's things that can't be changed and you shouldn't try to change. And even other races seem to know that in Doctor Who.
Yeah.
So there's fixed points.
This is incredible.
This is
By
fantastic.
the way, it's like silky smooth.
It's in the right kind of glassware now.
It's sweet as well.
Nice big brandy glass type.
Yeah, you need that sort of glass
Yeah.
for a.
Would you like a
for
top up,
begin-
Steve?
Yeah, let's have a top up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's calmed down a little bit because you were having some issues pouring it, weren't you?
That's it's still lively.
Yeah.
It's a lively beer.
Oh, it's lovely though.
You know that the head isn't white, is it? It's creamy brown, isn't it?
Yours certainly
Yeah.
is. It's filling half the glass.
It is. It's like going back to the old Boddington's adverts at the moment. Have you got a
Yeah, do you want a
flake?
flake in that? Yeah. So Marty's just realised that
He's in a time
he's
machine.
in a time machine.
But what does he do? He just goes back 10 minutes.
Yeah. Give yourself a bit more time.
Give yourself some leeway.
Yeah.
Look. All right, 11 minutes. 11 minutes.
Oh no, the car's just cut out. This was a nod to the fact that apparently DeLoreans are unreliable.
Yeah.
So that scene was saying, yeah, look, we'll give you that
Although, ironically, in Doctor Who, he often hits the TARDIS console.
to get it going.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just bangs it with a sphere, so he's got like almost like a mallet nearby, and he'll bang it. Even in the classic series, he would give it a bit of a knock just to get it going.
Yeah.
Not that I'm looking for syncing and synchronisation with Doctor Who at all.
No, but surely there has to be some, in this world of time travel that doesn't really exist, there has to be some laws to time travel, doesn't
Yeah,
there?
there must be a nod to the other programs. It's like, you know, certain programs set the genre, don't they?
Yeah.
They set the rules.
Going back to the Marty doesn't understand time travel.
No, he's rubbish.
If you were randomly to go back in time now, would you know that there were certain things that you shouldn't do?
I would lock myself away.
Would you not want to have a little look around?
Yeah. I'll rephrase that. I should lock myself away.
But curiosity would get the better of you.
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah.
it?
I think I'll try to avoid bumping into my parents, though. Especially having watched this film.
Yeah.
And really, you don't really want to see your parents.
No.
Courting, dating.
I'm just going to come back to the soundtrack and the score to this is just so good.
So
And it goes so well with the film.
I think people underestimate the score.
Yeah.
Because when I was trying to get tickets for Doctor Who at the Proms a couple of years ago, and someone said to me, well, what music? Especially these days, there's nearly enough, apart from certain scenes where they go completely silent in certain programmes, there's always a tune.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to watch this film without the score. This scene without the score, to see if it was anywhere near as dramatic as it actually is. So I don't think it would be.
No, it's the music. We're building.
Yeah.
All
And
this
the
tune is
music's building as well, yeah.
We're 2 minutes, so how are we doing on real time at the moment, Steve?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
I'm just going
Because
to hang on for a second.
We're coming up to about 3 minutes past 10 almost
Yeah.
on the clock, on the tower. And the Doc's about to save the day.
He's realised he can get down to the other bit. Marty's hammering the DeLorean down the street.
Trying to get up to 88.8 miles
Luckily
per
there's no
hour.
one around, really.
Yeah. As
See
for
this strange car race down the street.
Fortunately, they're all at the dance,
Yes, all of them.
even the parents. Come on.
Okay, so Doc's, he's there.
He's gone.
there. He's connected it. There's the lightning.
Bang.
Mate, without no shit.
I never knew that before.
That was bang on.
That is real time.
It's real time.
How
That
did we
scene
never know that before?
is 6 minutes long.
And it was 2 minutes to 10 on the clock.
Yeah. That's just made this film even better for
Yeah.
me. Is that they real timed the most important scene in the whole film.
Strange, I've never heard that reference though.
No. Maybe we're the first.
Premiere.
Maybe this is Hopinions, a world first. That scene was real time.
I wonder why I've never thought about that before though. The amount of times I've watched this film in the last 30 years,
I can't believe that.
I've never
I
noticed.
cannot. I'm genuinely shocked.
Wow.
At that. And now we've skipped forward.
So we're back in 1985 and it looks all dowdy again,
Well,
even at night.
but not as.
Yeah, only because it's darker.
Yeah. It's dirty.
California raisins, another
Yeah.
product placement. Now this is a trope that loads of writers use. Is a drunk tramp seeing something they can't quite believe and then look at their empty bottle. It's like that's used so
Yeah.
often, isn't it? And apparently, going through time travel in this makes your car freeze.
Makes things freeze, yeah. But Marty's back.
He's back.
Back to 1985, where he should be. And he's got time.
He's got time. If only.
Only he'd put himself in the
Look.
right place.
Look. Now you're going to have to run.
Oh no, and
There's the Libyans.
there's the Libyans in the Volkswagen van.
So you can't catch them up now.
No. 'Cause you're going to be on foot as
Even
well.
on your local knowledge. Has he got his Nikes back on, yeah?
Yeah.
No. There's no way you were going to catch them up. 11 minutes, that was
Yeah.
rubbish. And also, if you're running, get rid of the...
And we're now at Lone Pine Mall.
Yes, rather than Twin Pine Mall.
I wonder why that is.
Why didn't you get rid of the body warm while he was running?
I
I would
don't
have
know.
had to, because that would have been
Yeah.
too hot. So we're now seeing the dock being shot by the Libyans from a different perspective.
And this for me is where I start getting confused with time travel, because we're now in a loop. He's seeing himself in what's already happened.
Yep.
So that now will always happen in...
It loops on itself the whole time. now.
Yeah.
This becomes almost a fixed point.
Yeah.
But fortunately, even from a different angle, we get to see JC Penny again.
It's a good job that, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? And there goes the DeLorean. And we get to find out what happened to the Libyans.
Doesn't go well.
No.
Doesn't explode though.
No, but apparently crashing into a booth and falling over is enough to
To get rid of them,
knock them both out, maybe?
because otherwise they would have noticed. But he's alive.
Yeah. Oh, but
Hold on.
hang on. Hang on, Doc's not dead.
Why is the doc not dead?
What's happened there?
He was dead earlier. He looked dead.
And it's just one of those moments in a film where you're just like, yes.
Uh-huh.
How did you know? I never got a chance to tell you.
Oh, he stuck the letter back together,
The letter which told him all about his future,
which he shouldn't have read.
and
'Cause
Marty shouldn't have written it.
Could have created a time paradox.
All that talk about screwing up future events, the space-time continuum.
What the hell?
I figured. What the hell?
As a scientist, no, you can't just go what
No.
the hell.
Absolutely not. So, Marty's home.
So how far ahead are you going?
About 30 years. It's a nice round number.
Look me up when you get there, all right?
To be fair, we agree with the round number.
Yeah.
Round numbers are good. So 1985, he went 30 years in the future till 2015, which is 2 years in our past now.
It is, and there's a lot of discussion as to if you're going to make a time travel film, should you go far enough in the future that you'll never get
generation,
to it?
yeah.
The generation that watched it will never actually get to it.
But in 1985, to be fair, 2015 did seem a long way off.
It did seem a long way off, but
I was at school. I said it was my first day in 2015.
by 85 I was 13.
Right, so you'd only
In 85.
you were only 2 years into secondary school.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but I would say that a lot of people probably know that now when they're making these kind of films, go far enough, or
To at least skip a generation.
yeah,
Yeah.
or don't change stuff.
Yeah. So we've now got the classic scene of Marty in bed
Yeah, where he wakes up after his adventure.
in the same position
Yeah.
every time.
Which is a really weird position.
Yeah. Thinking it's that was an interesting dream.
Yeah.
How's the Sadako going at this point, by the way?
Amazing.
Yeah. It's
Absolutely amazing.
it's actually the perfect finish to the film.
Yeah.
Well, hang on.
Marty's house looks a lot less
Thi-
beige than it
things
did
are
before.
different, yeah.
It was very beige before. Oh, look out. his brother doesn't appear to work at a fast food joint anymore.
No.
Hey, what the hell is this?
They're all having a healthy breakfast.
Yeah.
Fruit, grapefruit, croissants.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you wearing, Dave?
Marty, I always wear a suit to the office. You all right?
So Marty's now confused again.
Yeah.
Did you hear him? You guys look great. Mom, you look so thin.
Thank you, Marty.
George.
Good morning, sleepyhead.
See now, there again is a paradox thing. Surely they'd recognise him
I sure
from their youth.
such a sweet girl.
They'd have memories of
The night of the
having met
I'm
him.
sure there's something again from my Doctor Who that
even planning it.
explains this one, but I can't remember what it is.
Mom, we talked about
That's always the thing that gets me with this. It's that they would remember him.
But he was a pivotal moment in their lives.
He brought them together.
Yeah.
So how do they now not recognise him? Oh, and
Waxing right now.
here's a very submissive Biff now.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we get 2 coats of wax this time, not just one. Just finish out the second coat now. Now, Beth, don't con me. I'm sorry, Mr. McFly. I meant I was just starting on the second coat.
Like a shadow of his former self.
Yeah.
Always try to get away with something. Here's how Biff Ever City High School. Although, if it wasn't for him.
We never would have fallen in love.
Okay, so they're putting it all down to Biff
Yeah.
as being the
So Marty didn't exist in that timeline then.
not in their memory. Would you like another top up, Steve?
I'd love some more of this beer because it is finishing this film perfectly.
Marty, here's your keys. You're all waxed up, ready for tonight. Keys?
And of course, it's the car that he saw at the beginning.
Yeah,
He longed for.
the Toyota.
Yes. Which we don't get to see in this scene.
No.
Oh, no, there we do.
Oh, but we get to see Jennifer again.
We do get to see Jennifer, the original Jennifer.
Yeah,
Let's just refer
yeah, the original Jennifer.
to that. To probably mention that at this point, that we did mention earlier on that she was Jennifer in this film, but then the actress changed
Was it
for...
Elizabeth Shue?
Yeah, so
So
that...
the girl who went on to be in Cocktail.
Yeah, so Claudia Wells, who's in this film, her mum had cancer, so she gave up acting to look after her mum, and she never ever came back to acting, and she was replaced with Elizabeth Shue.
She never came back at all.
No. So, and obviously they then had to refilm this scene
This scene is different, isn't it?
at the beginning of
Back to the Future Part 2.
2, yeah.
I need fuel.
Oh, Miller again.
More Miller, yeah, and Mr. Fusion. I'm sure that's got to be a brand, hasn't it? For the amount of screen time it got there.
Hey, Jennifer, see, I'm going to take the new truck for a spin.
Well, bring it along. This concerns her too.
So we no longer need plutonium.
No, because
To
we've
fire
been,
up the DeLorean.
we've been to the future, and it's got a new
It recycles.
energy system.
It's your kids, Marty. Something's got to be done by your kids.
So you're gonna go to the future and muck around with time.
Yeah, but you can't impact on the future, can you? Because it's not happened.
You can, because then you find out about your own future.
Yeah. We don't need roads. Love. That's one of the quotes.
Yeah. It's the way he delivers it,
Yeah.
isn't it? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Oh, there we go. Mate, that's been a great
Cheers.
ride through Back to the Future. So, just while the credits are playing and we're finishing off the Sadako.
Billy Zane.
Yeah, the guy in the...
What part did he play?
He was the guy in the... he was one of Biff's crew.
Was he? Because he was
Yeah.
in Titanic, wasn't he?
But he's more prominent in the next two films.
Yeah, okay.
So, never intended to have a sequel. It was only ever intended to be a singular film. But because of the success of the first film, it made something like 900 million
which was way exceeded their budget.
It was like made for 100 million.
Yeah.
And it made 900 million. So they decided to make sequels as a result. But so what we saw there was when we saw it originally in our teens. That was all we were ever going to expect. And then all of a sudden they created 2 sequels, which they filmed at the same time and then released. I think they were released a year apart. Weren't they?
So they filmed 2 and 3 together, didn't they? They released them year to 18 months, wasn't it? I think?
Yeah. So now you're not a fan of episode 2, are you?
No.
Of part 2 of it.
I'll go back to when we discussed a beer recently, Cannonball Rum. You've always described Human Cannonball as the uncomfortable middle child.
Yeah.
And I would say that Back to the Future Part 2 is very uncomfortable middle child. It really doesn't know where it's supposed to be sitting.
There's part of me that agrees, but we've had this discussion a few times before. There's a scene in particular in Back to the Future 2 that without it, you don't get what the trilogy's about, because it's that timeline
I
thing
agree.
Where they explain what has happened.
As a link, it works really well. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't stand up as a film on its own.
No, I think if you was to put that out on its own, it would make no sense whatsoever.
And it's not as entertaining.
And it's ridiculous. I mean, I love the fact that they do the whole skateboard scene again.
Yeah.
That's great. But the whole going and seeing his family and himself in the future and what a failure they've become and all the rest of it.
It doesn't fit at all.
It only gets good when it goes back to 1955 again.
Yes. And then we start seeing the other perspectives that you were referencing
what we've already just seen here. We see it all again.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that works really well.
Yeah.
But as a film on its own, no.
And even Spielberg compared it to... he said episode 2 is the Temple of Doom of the series, as in it's a dip in the trilogy.
Ooh. I suppose I know where he's coming from. I mean, Temple of Doom out of the first 3 Raiders probably isn't the best. To be honest, there's very few trilogies where I think where the second film nails it. Probably the only time I think it happens is Empire Strikes Back with Star Wars. Where I think that as a film, even on its own, you don't need to know much about 1 or 3.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But if we think about this series, you think about the 3 films as they are. Logically, it all works, doesn't it? It all comes together in the end.
If you watch all 3 films
back to back,
I don't think you'd notice so many of the failings in number 2.
No,
because you knew that number 3 was about to appear.
Yeah, and you got to see. You saw a lot of number 3 at the end of number 2 as well, didn't you?
I suppose what number 3 does really well is number 3 is probably the most standalone of all the films.
Yeah. Can you just point out how quick are credits back in 1985?
Well, that's because they haven't got all these spoilers for other films in them.
Yeah, I suppose so. But that happened really quick.
That did happen really quick.
So, I mean, obviously that's a classic in itself. Back to the Future.
Yes.
There are 2 other films in the series which we've been discussing.
Yeah.
That the series works really well.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, bearing in mind that they only did the first film as a standalone film, to suddenly create 2 and 3 off the back of that. Like I said, I think 2 works as part of a trilogy. Doesn't work so well on its own. I think 3 is excellent though.
3's a great. No, 3 works on its own.
Yes,
for me,
because 95% of it is purely Western.
Yeah,
it's purely set in the Wild West.
And the whole Clint Eastwood thing.
Yeah,
and
works really well.
That's just brilliant. I mean,
Frisbee.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it brings the series to a great close. Although there's always been a little bit of me that's been like, yeah, but what happened next?
Yeah,
when the Dot went off on the train.
Effectively, they're all alive. The Dot goes off on a train. There are still things happening in the background. You think, oh, there's still a story there somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's always been rumours about doing a Back to the Future Part 4, hasn't there?
There has, but by all accounts, so Zemeckis and Gal, the 2 producers of this, have said that as long as they are still alive, because they own all the rights to it, so they've said as long as they're still alive, there will never be a Part 4 or a reboot of Back to the Future. But actually, it's possible within
our
lifetime, they may pass on, and those rights pass on to somebody, and actually we may see a reboot of it. Would you want to see that? Would you want to see it redone? Or would you want to see a a part 4 where we had
I would want to see it redone.
Marty's great-great-great-grandchildren.
I would want to see it redone. I don't know. I'd still want to see Marty and the dog.
I don't think you're going to see that. But so is this one of those films that actually leave it alone
Yeah.
because it's a classic of its time?
Yeah, in that case, yes, I would say yes, leave it alone. Don't muck around with it. Why would you?
No, it's pretty much perfect.
Yeah, I would leave it exactly where it is.
Well then, mate.
Well, this has been enjoyable.
It's been different. How's your Starco doing now?
It's almost gone again.
Still just sipping it down, the velvety smoothness of the...
It is the perfect end of evening beer. Like I said, we're drinking it a little bit earlier than evening.
We are, but it still works.
It still works. It's just delicious. It's got some great carbonation on it without being... It's not like overtly fizzy.
It's not overly carb.
But it's got life, hasn't it?
And that's what helps it.
It really lifts it, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, hopefully you've all enjoyed the first opinions on films. This is something that we're going to do on a quarterly basis with Hippo Beers. We'll be featuring a Behemoth box and we'll be drinking it along with a film. But we'd like to give our listeners the chance to actually get involved.
Yeah, choose a film
in this. So to choose the film that we're going to drink next time. So we're going to drink a film, or we're going to watch a film.
I tell you what, why don't we drink a beer and watch a film?
Drink along to a film.
Yeah,
might work. So 8 beers in an hour and a half may be a challenge, but
yeah, but we're up for it. We're up for it.
So the three films that we're going to put up for you to choose from next time, and what we want you to do is vote on these. So send us a tweet and just use the hashtag Hopinions as always, and let us know which of these 3 films you'd like to see us drink along to next time. Film number 1 is Raiders of the Lost Ark. Film number 2 is The Lost Boys, and film number 3 is Flash Gordon. So let us know which of those 3 films, and that episode should be along. Probably in the summer, in about August, I think, is about 3 months on from here.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
It?
Yeah.
So
summer edition.
Summer edition, yeah. So looking forward to that. Mate, I've really enjoyed that.
That's been great fun.
It has been fantastic.
Let's do it again.
Thanks again to Hippo Beers for sending us the box.
Yeah, definitely.
We are very grateful.
Interesting and diverse mix.
Yeah, that nails it. I think diversity in terms of the beers that we've drunk, absolutely perfect. Whether we've matched them to the scenes or not and to the film, that's up for you, so let us know.
Yeah, let us know. If you think we've matched them badly, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And make sure you hang around for the end to listen to the Thomas F. Wilson questions song. that is a little thing to listen to as
you'll enjoy it.
Finish our Sudoku.
Yeah.
So cheers.
Cheers.
When I'm flying in a plane or I'm on the street, there's a lot of friendly people that I like to meet. They shake my hand but never ask my name, and they start asking questions that are always the same. Hey, what's Michael J. Fox like? He's nice. What's Christopher Lloyd like? Kinda quiet. What's Crispin Glover like? Unusual. Stop asking me the question. I went to the bar mitzvah of my nephew Josh. Now I'm not Jewish, but I like to nosh. Put on my yarmulke, started to pray. When the rabbi leaned over and I heard him say, hey, was that real manure? No, it wasn't. How was that DeLorean? A piece of garbage. Do those hoverboards really fly? It's a movie. Stop asking me the question. Can we take your picture? Come on, look mean. Would you call my friend a butthead on his answering machine? Questions fill my head. I went to my doctor said, what does a key grip do? Set up lights. What does the best boy do? Help the key grip. What does a producer do? I don't know. Stop asking me the question. Do you all hang out together? No, we don't. How's Crispin Glover? I never talked to him. Back to the Future 4. Not happening. Stop asking me the question. Hey, who's the nicest famous guy? You know, Adam Sandler. Who is the biggest jerk? Gary Busey. How much money do you make? More than you do. So stop asking me the question.